Neil Haley's show. And oh my goodness gracious, you think about specifically enough, you're going to talk to somebody about the great charity work and things like that. And again, he is such a humble person. I'm going to welcome former Chicago Bear Dennis McKinnon. Dennis, thanks for coming by. And you know what? When you look at your LinkedIn, you would have no idea that you are a celebrity athlete. I guess you're doing it for some sort of reason, aren't you, Dennis?
Well, most of my life has been public. So when you get to retirement age, you want to kind of go back to being private. And so I only do the things I want to do these days. And my resume is what it is. You can find that on Google. But I'm very humble and very thankful for the life that God's given me.
And that's huge. And I think that your work now is what your passion is. That's why you came on this inner radio slash TV slash podcast interview, is because you want to talk about what you're doing today. It was great what you accomplished. Same thing for me in professional wrestling. It's a minor league pro wrestler that accomplished a lot of different things. But ultimately, my focus and my mindset isn't about helping my clients and about moving them to the next level in their brand. And that's where I lose my sleep. It's not thinking about the glory days. And I think that's the same thing for you. Wouldn't you agree?
I totally agree with that. And I think in any industry that you may be in, you're going to have shelf life, that people can talk about your accolades, but life after shelf life is long. The question is, are you really ready to get on that journey and make a difference in the world, to be somebody no one thought that you could be? I've been an ambassador for the state of Illinois for almost 40 years. And I just love making a difference in people's lives who have lost faith.
All right. So talk about the organization you're working with and what you're doing to help. And especially, I like the whole idea about helping foundations because they can't get a voice a lot of times in certain things.
Well, there are a lot of organizations that have a household name. It's the ones that no one knows about, that's on a budget, doesn't have a staff, that are doing great things in the community. And all you want to do is partner them with media advertising, sponsorship, so that almost every dollar that they make goes to the cause. And too many times, too much of the fat is given to executives and not actually to the program. And so I try to cut out the middleman and making sure these relationships and partnerships, 100% of the money goes to the cause.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most important thing, because around the world, everybody's struggling, and a lot of times if you don't know anybody, nobody will help you. So my job is to be able to literally to continue to do God's work and make that connection. And as long as I'm involved, the background check has already been done. I've already been vetted. So they're going to give you an opportunity. And I think that's what life is all about, being able to extend a hand to get somebody in the door who ordinarily would not get the opportunity.
So Barely Active Productions, what do you guys do? Tell us some of your services.
Well, Barely Active Productions, I've been running the company since 1999. And it's a laundry list of things that we do. And I think for marketing, advertising, celebrity appearances, product endorsement, image consulting, it's a list of things that I do. And a lot of what I do is based on relationships I developed over the last 40 years. And so with that, there's no contract that I won't say yes to. Even if I don't do it, I have people that I've worked with over the years who are independent contractors who can get the job done without me having to micromanage. And that's a beautiful thing.
So you take the celebrity and bring them to the charity in a lot of ways.
Oh, yes. And most of my friends are in media and advertising. So I kind of eliminate that cost that a lot of young not-for-profits can't really afford that kind of money. So if I can get that done for them at no cost, that's a wonderful help.
So give me an example of a case study of what you've done.
Oh, let's say I've been an ambassador for 7-Eleven for 35 years. And 7-Eleven is one of the largest chains in the country.
Yeah.
But if you have a relationship with 7-Eleven, you also have access to 1,200 of the vendors in their stores. So if 7-Eleven partners with you, you have access to all their vendors and you've already been vetted. That's a beautiful thing. So I've figured out a way to eliminate a whole lot of legwork based on relationships. And with them, anything that I have done marketing promotion wise over the last 30 years, 7-Eleven has been my anchor. And so in a lot of cases, I don't have to do a whole lot of work.
Really? Okay. So 7-Eleven has really been your anchor. So I'm trying to figure, specifically enough. So you see the power of having an influencer in your marketing for a charity, for a foundation, for an organization, right?
Yes, I mean I've done everything from Good Morning America to Check Topic 2020. I've been on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Most of my friends are in media, so local and national radio. I mean, the 85 Bears are a national team, have always been. Everybody knows who they are, and the fact that it happens to be my number made it that much easier in terms of marketing.
No, and that's the thing I utilize as well, with just the ability of who all the celebrities that talk on my show. Add you to that celebrity list, because when I thought I'm talking to somebody, the connections, because it doesn't really face, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. That really, you bring the celebrity is what changes the game, because you have a celebrity promoting your product or service, and it's spokespeople. It's changing even more, where they're taking equity of companies, saying, yeah, I can't really afford this spokesperson, but I'll take equity in your company, this athlete or entertainer, and it changes things. Look at, again, Mint Mobile with Ryan Reynolds and different
Yes.
things. It's a game changer in so many ways.
You have to be a trusted entity for an organization, in this case, or a company, to partner with you, because all the value that they have, you have to pass that test. And all you want to do is really brand awareness and make that decimal point move left. As long as you can accomplish that, you get a loyal following.
So, like, if someone wanted to work with you, who are you looking to work with?
At this point in my life, it's people who really are trying to find a different career. Anybody can get a job, but what do you want to do the next 20, 30 years of your life? Where someone wants to invest in you, and it's like an apprenticeship, literally. Because I used to tell, teammates, if I get you an appearance, you might get $1,000 today. Okay. But if the relationship develops, that $1,000 now is worth $100,000 over the next 10 years.
100%.
And that's how you have to look. I look at the long game as opposed to the immediate satisfaction. Because as long as there's a relationship, there's no cold calling. That person and that company speaks for you, validates you, vets for you. And that way you're always in the door no matter what.
So you're looking more at the athlete to work with you, or both? You have both. You already have the connections. It's about bringing that athlete in to give them the thing.
Absolutely. And I think I do it both ways. And, also it's teaching. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity and you make a lot of money. The question is, when you're behind closed doors in those board meetings, can you talk? Okay. How you dress, how you articulate, because they're looking at everything that you don't do well. And they can tell whether or not you're really prepared to make this relationship, this partnership go. Because sometimes you can just get in the door with your name. But as soon as you open your mouth, sometimes your value will drop because you did not work at it.
So you look at the current athletes today. Are they doing a good job with those endorsements, especially life after football, where they end up, they weren't the biggest star. They weren't the household name, but yet they'd be perfect for certain organizations or different things.
Well, a lot of those older players came at a time where there was no free agency, no guaranteed money. They were part of a stoppage in '87 in terms of a strike. They've had to work for every dollar that they've had, as opposed to this generation having everything handed to them. So there's an appreciation for every dollar because you earned it, no one gave it to you. And there's more appreciation for that and a love of what you do, because respect follows that.
Exactly. So right now, what your organization's doing is your athletes are reaching out to you, then you're putting the athletes in front of the right people.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, when you've had a long tenure with certain companies around the country, and I always say that is that it doesn't matter if a company is local, if they have a footprint in every city in the country, that's tremendous value. So if you can make a niche in a major market like Chicago, everybody follows suit.
Exactly. So who do you want to reach out to you from watching this interview?
I mean, literally, there are athletes in all sports who have hung up their cleats, no longer bounce a basketball or hit a curveball or play any soccer, who are looking to partner with corporations around the country.
They want to speak. They want to speak.
They want to speak. They want to tell their story. They want to do expos. I mean, they are inspiration. They have a story that no one can tell but them. So they just need to get in front of the right people.
Yeah, I just talked to someone today. It's going to be a client of mine, and he's looking to speak. And he's a college basketball assistant coach and is coached in the pros. I'll tell you off air about him because I haven't worked with him yet. But that's the kind of people they're like, what do I do now? My season, I'm done now, either as a coach or a player, and I want to go out and speak at corporate events, and I don't have those connections to get to those corporate events. And that can be any type of athlete. You really fit that mold by what we were talking about because you've done it, but you don't want to do that dog and pony show all the time. You rather go and put other people in that spot, right?
It's about there's an armor about celebrity athletes that they don't want to be vulnerable. But sometimes vulnerable, the human element, is the connection that you need.
Well, I'm awesome to have a Chicago Bear from the 1985 team, but I'm more interested in our relationship marketing, what my media company's doing, what my agency's doing, and how I can help your athletes and we can, or vice versa, or corporations. But where can people find the best information on you? Where can they go?
Well, my website is barelyactive.com. That's BEARLYACTIV. And literally, that's been my footprint for the last 40 years. So I'm easy to find.
But isn't it awesome when you have that name and everyone still doesn't forget the 1985 Chicago Bears? It's ridiculous.
Well, I think that there have been some dynasties in all the sports, but the 85 Bears resonate. They set a bar in terms of everybody trying to elevate. And a lot of that's because of the great and late Walter Payton, who was my teammate for 7 years.
Yeah.
And it is about class and character. And everything that we did during that era, we earned, as opposed to now, it's about you don't have to be good anymore to get paid. That is a terrible, terrible analogy, but it's factual these days.
But the problem is they blow their money, certain things, but you still look at these athletes that have made a name for themselves, but yet don't know how to utilize that brand. And that, my last point, and I know you're going to totally agree with me on this, is if you've made a name for yourself in anything, you have a brand. Lots of people pay for a brand. To use that to get to anyone, they don't understand how much value they have.
And that's the thing. I always tell people, wine never loses value with age. It only gets more expensive. So to me, the quality of who you are and the brand you have created doesn't lose value over time. If anything, you are more a trusted entity because you put in the time and the work.
All right. We appreciate it. Thanks again, sir.
Neil, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.